on paper. Okay. All right, so we're gonna now go. It's basically gonna be very similar to what we've done so far, but we're gonna combine Pythagorean theorem and trig, SOHCAHTOA. So solving. Let's write this down. Okay, solving a triangle means to solve for all three angles and all three sides. Okay. Recall that the sum of angles in a triangle is always equal to 180 degrees. So this is going to be big for us in order to solve and make it easier for us. Okay. Example. Solve the following triangles. I'm going to start putting letters on here. Like that. And let's say that they give us this one here. We're going to make that 27 degrees. And we're told that this is 10.5 feet. And that's all you have. Okay. So if that's all you have, you're like, wait a minute, which one are they asking me for? Right? Which one am I supposed to solve for? And the answer is, you're supposed to, how many sides are given here? This side is given, and if you're supposed to solve, I'm just going to read that. I saw a little notification here. I don't know if it's the internet or if it's my laptop. It's very, very slow lately. Yeah, sure. I can gladly do that. Yeah, you're welcome. Okay, so you got to pay really close attention because really if you think about the labeling, which is we have capitals for the angles, right? That means that the side across capital A is lowercase, and this would be lowercase, and this would be lowercase here. Okay. So basically, what we're going to do is this: A, B, C, and we're going to do A, B, C, right? We're gonna have to answer all three sides and all three angles here on the side. By the way, C, this side here is already given to us, so that's 10.5 feet. We can fill that in already. We know that angle C is 27 degrees, so we can fill that in as well. Is there anything else we know about this triangle? What about this angle here? It's a 90, right? B is 90, so we know that as well. So right now we have three things that we still need to figure out. So what I will do first is this, okay? Let's label the sides. If this is the angle that they're giving you, we're going to label opposite. I'm going to use a different color so it sticks out. This side is the opposite side, right? If this is the angle and this is the opposite, this is the hypotenuse, and this is my adjacent. Okay, so opposite is across the angle given, hypotenuse is always across the 90, and adjacent has to be the third side. Right now, let's just focus on one side. So which one of these two do you not know and don't care about? The answer is you decide that. In this case, when solving a triangle, you decide. So let's say we say for now that we don't care about the adjacent because you only want two sides left over. So O and H is so, right? We're going to use sine to solve for B here. So sine of the angle that you're given is equal to opposite, and opposite right now is 10.5, over hypotenuse, right? That's what the H stands for, which is B for us. Okay? You put the little 1 underneath here just to help you understand that this is a cross multiplication and division. You always start your journey where the variable is, which is B on that side. You take the number, which is up top. You have to go down first, then up. And you always multiply, then divide. So B is going to be 10.5 times 1, which is irrelevant, right? It's just 10.5, I know that. But then you know you're going to have to divide that whole thing by sine of 27. Okay? So 10.5 times 1 is 10.5. So it's really 10.5 divided by sine of 27. So I'm going to do that here on my calculator. 10.5 divided by sine of 27. Depending on your calculator, you might have to go 27 then sine. Okay? Depends on your calculator. Make sure it's set to degrees. So for B, I get 23.13 feet. I will go over here and already write that in. I'm going to use a different color because I did that. I calculated this. I want to make sure it sticks out, right? So you've calculated that. Now, I'm going to show you how to do the next one because we still need to solve for A, correct? How many sides do I know now? I know that this is 2313, and I know this. So if you know 2 out of the 3, then you use Pythagorean Theorem. And A happens to be a leg, right? So A is going to be square root of the hypotenuse squared minus the other leg squared. I want you to still always remember that Pythagorean theorem is a tool you can use. And I saw that some of you forgot to square root when you did that last question on the AC. So you were close, but not quite, right? So watch here. 2313 squared minus 10.5 squared, it equals, that's 424.7469. A is equal to, take the square root of that, 20.61 feet. Now you can report back over here and say that that is solved. So all three sides are now known. Okay. How would you figure out that last little bit here? Angle A. Angle A, recall that all three angles add up to 180. So we're just going to say, hey, if all of them add up to 180, I'm going to go 180 minus 90, which is that angle there, minus 27, which is that angle there, C, and whatever is left over is what angle A must be equal to. And I don't know if you know that 180 minus 90 is 90, right? So it's basically 90 minus 27. And that's 63 degrees. Up here, 63 degrees. Let's do another one. Make sure you have this written down first. So you need to understand that you could have canceled out or crossed out the hypotenuse to start off with, made that you don't know, don't care side, and then you would have been left with opposite and adjacent, which is tangent, right? And then you would have used tan here and then solve for this side over here first. And that's fine. Either, regardless of which way you go, you're going to get the same answer. Maybe slightly off. Maybe you might be off by 0.01, but not by much. Let's do another one. Let's make it look different so it's not always the same. D, E, F. Get used to letters. Let's say this is 36 degrees. And they're giving you this side, which is 2.7 miles. Okay, and they're asking you to solve the triangle. So it's not just finding one side. Solving a triangle is solving everything. Okay, and it basically means in this case finding two sides and then that one angle up here that is unknown, E, right? And you decide what you want to do first. But based on the angle being here at this corner, that's where you're situated. This is just simply measuring the opening, right? But it's this corner where you know the angle for. Then you label opposite. And this is the hypotenuse. And this must be the adjacent. Always. It's always based on where you're standing. If you had been up here, I'm sure you recall me saying that. If you are up here, then this is your opposite side. Hypotenuse always stays the same. And then this turns into your adjacent, right? So it depends on where you're located. Now, which one? You will not cancel out. I hope you know that you can't cancel out the hypotenuse, right? Because that's the only number that you have. You have to cancel out one of these two here. So let's say you're gonna get rid of this one here. I don't know and don't care about that one right here. So I'm left with A and H, right? So that A and H means that you're gonna go with ka, right? Cosine. So this helps you set it up. First, you start with cosine of the angle, and that is equal to, this tells me that adjacent comes first. I don't know what adjacent is, but let's call it, you can call it whatever you want, but I'm going to call it E because this is actually the side across from angle E, right? So the adjacent comes first, which is called E, and the hypotenuse is 2.7. Put the 1 underneath here. Your journey starts on this side, right, where the variable is. Because you're downstairs, you're going to move up, and you always multiply first, and then you divide coming down, which is just divided by 1, not a big deal. So once you've determined that, E is 2.7 times cosine of 36 degrees. And you're like, what about dividing by 1, Mr. Dirksen? Sure, you can do that if you want. But I'm not. It's basically just to let you know that in this case, you're multiplying 2.7 by cosine of 1. If 2.7 had been up here, you would have been multiplying it by 1, then dividing it by cosine of 36. So this is 2.18 miles. You got that taken care of. Next, we have to figure out what side F is. This is now we're still interested in this, and it's a leg as well. So F would be, because it's a leg, you have to take the hypotenuse and subtract the other leg from it, which we just found. So I first figure out what that is. And I use all the decimals. Then I press the square root button. So F is equal to 1.59 miles. So you now know both sides. They're both legs and they're both shorter than the hypotenuse, so that checks out. And what's the only thing that is left for me to find? You have this angle, you have that angle, you need to find angle E up here. So this is how you do it. I ran out of room over there, so angle E is just 180. Let's take away the 90, which is always there, and the other angle that is given to us as well. So angle E is going to be 90 minus 36 basically, which is 54 degrees. So 3 things that I've circled that I needed to find. If you want to do the inventory thing the way I had it up there, you can feel free to do so. But okay, check the video later, Camden, in case you missed something. All right, now it's time for you to practice. So let's flip the page or continue wherever you're at. I'm going to give you another example to try. Okay, so you try now. And I would say, hey, have one example on your study sheet, a full example on your study sheet on how to solve a triangle. You try, so how about we make it upside down? Okay. We're going to call this one SUN, sun. By the way, this, yeah, that's how we refer to a triangle. We will sometimes just say, hey, consider triangle sun, right? And we'll call this 63 degrees. And we will know that this over here is 3.9 kilometers. And now you're supposed to solve everything else. Nope, no, this is just you try. I don't care if you get it wrong in your notes. Okay, in fact, if you get this wrong in your notes, we're not going to erase it. We're just going to be like, scratch. Let's start over again. Okay, so go for it. I'll pause the recording and then I'll go